Jake Martinez stared at the screen in front of him.
The numbers made no sense.
For 3 days, the Deep Space Monitoring Station had been picking up strange signals from the Kepler 442 system. The signals were not random space noise. They had a pattern. Jake rubbed his tired eyes and called out to Lisa Brown, who sat at the communications desk across the room. "Lisa, can you take another look at this? I think we have something here." Lisa walked over to Jake's station. She was the best communications specialist on the Vigilance. If anyone could figure out what these signals meant, it was her. She looked at the data streaming across Jake's monitors. "This is definitely not natural," Lisa said after a few minutes. "The pattern repeats every 47 seconds. And look at this." She pointed to a series of numbers on the screen. "These look like mathematical sequences. Prime numbers, maybe?" Jake felt his heart beat faster. In all his years of monitoring deep space, he had never seen anything like this. "You think it's from aliens?" "I think we need to wake up Captain Clark," Lisa said. 15 minutes later, Captain Ryan Clark stood in the communications center of the Vigilance. He was a tall man with gray hair and serious eyes. He had been in space for 20 years, but he had never dealt with anything like this. "Show me what you have," Clark said. Lisa pulled up the signal data on the main screen. The signal started 3 days ago. They come from the Kepler 442 system, about 30 light years from here. The pattern is too complex to be natural. We think someone is trying to send us a message. Clark studied the data. "Can you decode it?" "We're working on it," Jake said, "but we need more time, and probably more help." Clark nodded. "I'll contact Earth Command. They'll want to know about this right away." For the next 6 hours, Lisa and Jake worked to decode the signals. They tried every translation method they knew. Finally, at 0300 hours ship time, they had a breakthrough. "Captain Clark to the communications center," Lisa announced over the ship's intercom. "We've got something." Clark arrived within minutes. Lisa was sitting at her station with a look of excitement and worry on her face. "We've decoded part of the message," she said. "It's definitely from aliens, and Captain, they're asking for help." Clark moved closer to the screen. "What do they say?" Lisa took a deep breath. "The message is from a species that calls themselves the Valorians. They live in the Kepler 442 system. They say they are under attack by another alien species called the Karic Dominion." Jake pulled up more data. "The Valorians say they are a peaceful people. They grow food and study science. But these Karic things are trying to kill them all."
"Ow."
"Bad, is it?" Clark asked. Lisa's voice was quiet. "It's very bad, Captain. The Valorians say they had 15 worlds. The Karic have already destroyed 12 of them. Only 3 Valorian worlds are left, and they won't last much longer." Clark felt a chill run down his spine. "How many Valorians are left?" "A few million," Jake said. "Out of billions. The Karic don't just kill them, Captain. According to this message, they eat them. They use Valorian bodies to grow their ships and weapons." Clark was silent for a long moment. In all his years in space, he had never heard of anything so horrible. "Are you sure about this translation?" "We've checked it 5 times, Lisa said. "The Valorians have sent us pictures and data. They're real, Captain, and they're dying." Clark looked at the screen again. Alien text was now translated into English. The words were simple, but they carried the weight of an entire civilization's fear. "We are the Valorians of the Kepler 442 system. We send this message to anyone who can hear us. We are under attack by the Karic Dominion. They have destroyed most of our worlds. They kill our people and use our bodies to make their war machines. We have tried to fight, but we are not warriors. We're farmers and scientists. We do not know how to stop them. If anyone receives this message, please help us. We do not want to die. Our children do not want to die. Please, if you can hear this, help us." The message repeated over and over with new details each time. The Valorians had sent star charts showing where their remaining worlds were located. They had included pictures of their cities and their people. They looked almost human, but with longer limbs and larger eyes. They had also sent pictures of the Karic. The alien invaders looked like giant insects with hard shells and multiple arms. Their ships were not built from metal and plastic like human ships. They were grown from living tissue, fed by the bodies of the Karak's victims. Captain, Jake said, there's more. The Valorians say they've been sending this message for weeks. They're hoping someone, somewhere, will hear them and come to help. Clark made his decision. Contact Earth Command immediately. Priority Alpha transmission. Tell them we have first contact with an alien species and they're under attack by another. Alien species. We need orders. What do you think Earth will do? Lisa asked. Clark looked at the translated message again. He thought about the pictures of the Valorian children and the horrible images of the Karak war machines made from dead bodies. I think Earth is going to be very angry, he said. The transmission to Earth Command took 12 hours to reach home. When the reply came back, it was short and direct. Vigilance. This is Admiral Kate Sullivan at Earth Command. We have received your report. The exploration vessel Defiance is being dispatched to the Kepler 442 system immediately. Captain Clark, you are ordered to maintain monitoring of all signals from that system. We are taking this situation very seriously. Humanity does not stand by while innocent people are murdered. More instructions will follow. Earth Command out. Clark looked at Jake and Lisa. Get me everything we can on the Valorian system. A-star. Charts, planetary data, everything. And keep monitoring their signals. We need to know if their situation gets worse. Captain Lisa said, what if we're too late? What if the Kara kill all the Valorians before we can help them? Clark's face was hard. Then the Karak are going to learn what happens when they mess with people under Earth's protection. The signals from the Valorian system continued to come in. Each message was more desperate than the last. The Karak were closing in on the final 3 Valorian worlds. Time was running out, but across the galaxy, the largest military force in human history was beginning to move. How the Valorians had cried for aid, and Earth had heard them. What happened next would change the galaxy forever. The Defiance dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Captain Ryan Clark stood on the bridge, watching the main screen as his ship's sensors scanned the area ahead. What do you see, Ben? Clark asked his second-in-command. Lieutenant Commander Ben Harris. Ben looked at his instruments with a frown. Captain, I'm reading massive energy signatures from the third planet. That should be Sanctuary Prime, the Valorian homeworld. Put it on screen, Clark ordered. The main display showed a blue and green planet that looked almost like Earth, but something was wrong. Dark clouds covered parts of the world and strange lights flashed across the surface. My God, whispered Dr. Maria Santos, the ship's language expert. Are those explosions? Clark moved closer to the screen. Ben, take us in closer, but keep us ready to run if we need to. As the Defiance moved toward Sanctuary Prime, the crew could see the horrible truth. Huge black ships, shaped like insects. Hung in the planet's sky, they were firing energy beams down at the surface, destroying everything they hit. Those must be the Karak ships, said Dr. Alex Turner, the ship's scientist who studied alien life. But they're enormous. Each one is bigger than our largest battleship. The Karak vessels were not like human ships made of metal and plastic. They looked alive, with skin instead of armor and what appeared to be organs instead of machinery. Some had tentacles that reached down to the planet's surface. Captain called out the communications officer. I'm picking up signals from the planet. It's the Valorians. They're still alive down there. Put it through, Clark said. A voice filled the bridge, speaking in the alien language they had learned. To translate, Dr. Santos quickly converted it to English. This is Elder Zephi of the Valorian Council. We are under attack. The Karak are in our cities. They are taking our people. Please, if anyone can hear this, we need help now. Clark made his decision. Prepare a landing party. Ben, you're with me. Dr. Santos, we'll need you to talk to them. Dr. Turner, bring your equipment. We need to see what's happening down there, Captain. Ben said, those Karak ships will detect us if we go down there. Then we'll have to be fast, Clark replied. The shuttle from the Defiance landed in a forest outside the main Valorian city. The landing party could see smoke rising from the city and hear explosions in the distance. Stay alert, Clark told his people. We don't know what we're walking into. They moved through the forest toward the city. After 20 minutes of walking, they found a group of Valorians hiding in the trees. The aliens looked like tall, thin humans with large eyes and pale skin. Their clothes were torn and dirty, and many of them appeared to be hurt. One of them, an older Valorian with white hair, stepped forward, spoke in his own language, and Dr. Santos translated. He says his name is Elder HFY. He's the one who sent the messages. He can't believe that someone actually came to help them. Captain Clark nodded to the alien. Tell him we're from Earth. We got their message, and we're here to help. Dr. Santos spoke to the elder in his language. The old Valorian's eyes filled with tears, and he fell to his knees. He says he thought they were going to die alone, Dr. Santos translated. He says the Karak have been hunting them for months. Ask him to show us what's happening, Clark said. Elder HFY led them to a hill where they could see the city. What they saw made the humans sick with anger. The Karak were not just destroying the city. They were capturing Valorians and loading them into their ships. But the humans could see that the aliens were still alive when they were taken. Dear God, Dr. Turner whispered. They're taking them alive. Through Dr. Santos, Elder HFY explained what the Karak did to their prisoners. The insect-like aliens did not just kill their enemies. They used them as food while they were still living. They also used Valorian bodies to grow new parts for their ships and weapons. How many of your people have they taken? Ben asked. Elder HFY's answer, translated by Dr. Santos, made the humans feel cold inside. Billions. Billions of his people are dead or captured. Only a few million Valorians are left on the 3 remaining worlds. Dr. Turner was studying the Karak ships through his equipment. Captain, these ships are not machines. They're alive. They're grown from organic material. From the bodies of their victims, Dr. Santos added after talking more with the elder. Staff Sergeant Tom Bradley, the soldier who had come with the landing party, was watching the Karak through binoculars. His face was hard with anger. Captain, I've seen war before, but this is not war. This is murder. Elder HFY showed them recordings that the Valorians had made of the Karak attacks. The images were so horrible that Dr. Amanda Foster, the ship's doctor, had to look away. The recordings showed Karak soldiers, looking like giant insects with sharp claws, breaking into Valorian homes. They grabbed entire families and carried them away to their ships. The humans could hear the screams of Valorian children calling for their parents. They don't kill quickly, Elder HFY explained through Dr. Santos. They keep the victims alive as long as possible. They say living tissue works better for growing their ships. Captain Clark had seen enough. We need to get back to the ship. Now, please. They prepared to leave. Elder HFY grabbed Dr. Santos's arm and spoke urgently. He's asking if we're really going to help them, Dr. Santos translated. Says they've been praying that someone would hear their calls for help. Clark looked at the old alien. Tell him that Earth has heard their call. Tell him that help is coming. The landing party made it back to their shuttle just as Karak patrol ships began searching the area. The Defiance barely escaped the system before the insect-like aliens could catch them. On the journey back to human space, Captain Clark sat in his quarters, reviewing the recordings they had made. The images of the Karak attacks played over and over on his screen. Chief Engineer Pete Johnson knocked on his door. Captain, I've been studying the Karak ship data. Their technology is advanced, but it's biological. That might be something we can use against them. Good work, Pete, Clark said. Make sure all the data gets to Earth Command. Dr. Foster came to see him next. Captain, I've been working with the Valorian survivors we brought with us. They're severely traumatized. What the Karak did to their people, it's beyond anything I've seen. That night, Captain Clark sent a message to Earth Command. It was short and direct. The situation is worse than we thought. The Karak are not just invading the Valorian worlds. They are committing genocide. Use their victims as living food and building materials. The Valorians are peaceful people who cannot defend themselves. They will all be dead within weeks unless we act. We have recorded evidence of everything. The Karak must be stopped. Send everything we have. This is not a request. This is a call for justice. The message traveled through space toward Earth, carrying with it the horrible truth about what was happening in the Kepler 442 system. When it arrived, it would change everything. Earth was about to learn what the Karak had done to the innocent. Valorians, the Karuk, were about to learn what happened when they made enemies of the human race. The message from Captain Clark reached Earth at 0800 hours on a Tuesday morning. Within 1 hour, every important person in Earth's government and military was in an emergency meeting. President Linda Hayes sat at the head of the table in the White House Situation Room. Around her were Admiral Kate Sullivan, General Chris Parker, and the heads of every major military branch. The recordings from the Defiance played on the main screen. "Turn it off," President Hayes said after watching for 5 minutes. Her face was pale, and her hands were shaking with anger. "I've seen enough." Admiral Sullivan spoke first. "Madam President, we have confirmed that everything in Captain Clark's report is true. The Karuk are committing genocide against the Valorian species." "How many Valorians are left?" the President asked. General Parker looked at his notes. "Less than 3 million spread across 3 worlds. At the rate the Karuk are killing them, they have maybe 2 weeks left." President Hayes stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at the peaceful city of Washington, then turned back to face the room. "Gentlemen, we are not going to let an entire species die while we watch. Admiral Sullivan, I want every ship we have ready to move in 72 hours. "Every ship, Madam President?" Admiral Sullivan asked. "That's 12 full battle fleets. Over 2,000 ships. Every ship," the President repeated. "Gark. Want to play war games with innocent people? Show them what war really looks like." Across the planet, the largest military mobilization in human history began. At the Mars shipyards, workers started loading weapons and supplies around the clock. At the Luna military base, soldiers prepared for deployment to alien worlds. Dr. Victor Stone, Earth's top weapons scientist, worked with his team to create new weapons designed specifically to fight the Karuk. His assistant, Dr. Nancy Bell, had studied the data from the Defiance. "The Karuk ships are biological," Dr. Bell explained to Dr. Stone. "They're grown from living tissue. It means they might be vulnerable to electromagnetic weapons. Can we build something?" Dr. Stone asked. "Already working on it," Dr. Bell said. "We can modify our railguns to fire electromagnetic pulses. If we're right, it should disrupt their biological systems." At the Fleet Command Center, Admiral Sullivan worked with her staff to plan the largest space battle in human history.
The logistics were enormous.
Moving 12 fleets across hundreds of light years required perfect coordination. "We need supply. Ships, medical ships, troop transports, and repair facilities." Admiral Sullivan told Commander Ruth Taylor, her supply officer, "And we need all of it to arrive at the same time." Commander Taylor looked at her computer screens. "Admiral, we're talking about moving 2 million people and enough supplies to fight a war on the other side of the galaxy. It's going to take everything we have, then we use everything we have," Admiral Sullivan said. Captain Kelly Wright was preparing her fast attack ship Retribution when her orders came through. She was to lead a reconnaissance mission to scout Karuk fleet positions. "Sam, get the crew ready," she told Lieutenant Sam Rodriguez, her tactical officer. "We're going hunting." "What's the mission, Captain?" asked Chief Petty Officer Carl Stone. "The ship's weapons specialist? We're going to find out how many Karuk ships are in the Valorian system," Captain Wright said. "And then we're going to find out how to kill them all." The Retribution and 5 other scout ships left Earth 48 hours before the main fleet. Their job was to gather intelligence on Karuk movements and find the best way to attack. Meanwhile, Captain John Mitchell commanded a fleet of factory ships that were building weapons and ammunition while traveling through space. His ships worked day and night to produce everything the human fleet would need. "We're going to run out of raw materials," Chief Engineer Pete Johnson told Captain Mitchell. "Then we'll mine asteroids along the way," Mitchell replied. "Whatever it takes." Dr. Ellen Parker prepared the medical ships for the worst. She knew that fighting the Karuk would result in many human casualties. "Set up trauma centers on every medical ship," she told her staff, "and prepare for biological warfare. We don't know what diseases the Karuk might carry." Back on Earth, President Hayes addressed the United Nations. Representatives from every country watched as she explained what was happening in the Kepler 442 system. "The Valorians are a peaceful people who have done nothing wrong," President Hayes said. "They are farmers and scientists who grow food and study the stars. The Karak are trying to kill them all simply because they can. The president's voice grew stronger as she continued. Humanity will not stand by and watch genocide happen. We have the power to stop this, and we will use every bit of that power. The speech was broadcast to every human colony and space station. Within hours, volunteers were signing up to join the military. Mining companies offered to donate ships and supplies. Even civilian families sent money to help pay for the mission. Admiral Sullivan stood in the command center of her flagship, the Vengeance. Around her, 12 full battle fleets were preparing to jump to faster-than-light speed. It was the largest human military force ever assembled. Admiral, called out Jake Martinez, who had been transferred from the Vigilance to serve as her tactical advisor. All fleets report ready. Admiral Sullivan looked at the display showing the positions of over 2,000 human warships. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, fighters, and support vessels filled the space around Earth. Send a message to Captain Clark on the Defiance, Admiral Sullivan ordered. Tell him to get the Valorians ready. The cavalry is coming. She turned to address her fleet. All ships, this is Admiral Sullivan. Today we go to war not for territory or resources, but for justice. The Karak have shown no mercy to innocent people. They will receive no mercy from us. The Admiral's voice was heard on every ship in the fleet. The Valorians cried for help, and Earth answered. Now let's show the Karak what happens when they threaten people under our protection. One by one, the human fleets activated their faster-than-light drives. The space around Earth filled with bright flashes as the ships disappeared, heading toward the Kepler 442 system on Sanctuary Prime. Elder HFY received a message from Captain Clark. The old Valorian could hardly believe what he was hearing. Tell your people to take shelter, Captain Clark's message said. Earth is sending help. More help than you can imagine. Hold on for just a few more days. Elder HFY looked up at the sky where Karak ships continued to attack his world. Soon, those same skies would be filled with human warships. The Karak had made a terrible mistake. They had attacked innocent people and assumed no one would care enough to stop them. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Earth was coming, and Earth was angry. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of the Vengeance, looking at the tactical display that showed over 2,000 human ships spread across. Space report, she ordered. Jake Martinez, now serving as her tactical advisor, studied his screens.
Admiral?
We have 12 Karak bioships attacking Sanctuary Prime. 6 more are positioned around the other 2 Valorian worlds. They appear to be in the final stages of their invasion. Admiral Sullivan's face was hard. Are there any Valorians left alive? Yes, Admiral. Captain Clark reports that Elder HFY and about 50,000 Valorians are hiding in underground shelters on Sanctuary Prime. The other worlds have smaller groups of survivors. Then we're not too late, Admiral Sullivan said. All ships, battle stations, today we end this. The Karak had no idea what was about to hit them.
At their bioships.
Were focused on hunting the last Valorians on the planet's surface. They had never seen anything like the human fleet that was now moving toward them. Admiral Jake called out, "The Karak ships are turning toward us. I think they finally noticed we're here." On the main screen, the insect-like Karak vessels began to move. They were huge, each one the size of a human battleship, but they moved slowly like living creatures instead of machines. Captain Allen, Captain Ross, Admiral Sullivan spoke into her communications system. Begin long-range bombardment. Target the largest Karak ships first. Captain Steve Allen, commanding the battleship Thunder, fired the first shots of the battle. His ship's main guns sent massive shells toward the nearest Karak bioship. The shells hit their target and exploded, tearing huge holes in the living vessel. Captain Diana Ross, commanding the Lightning, fired next. Electromagnetic pulse weapons designed by Dr. Victor Stone back on Earth hit a Karak ship and caused it to convulse like a dying animal. It's working,
Doctor.
Nancy Bell reported from the science station. The electromagnetic weapons are disrupting their biological systems. The Karak tried to fight back, but they were confused and overwhelmed. They had never faced an enemy with so many ships and such powerful weapons. Their bioships fired energy beams at the human fleet, but the humans were too fast and too well coordinated. "Jake, coordinate the fighter attack," Admiral Sullivan ordered. Jake Martinez spoke to the fighter squadrons. "All fighters, this is Fleet Command. Attack pattern Delta. Target their weapon systems first." Hundreds of human fighters swarmed around the Karak bioships like angry bees. The small, fast human ships were impossible for the slow Karak vessels to hit. Captain Ryan Clark, now commanding a destroyer squadron, led his ships in close-range attacks against the Karak biofactories on the planet's surface. These were the facilities where the Karak processed their victims. "No prisoners," Captain Clark said over the radio. "Destroy everything." The ships fired their weapons at the biofactories, turning them into burning ruins. Each facility that was destroyed meant that fewer innocent people would die. Colonel Frank Davis led the Marine boarding parties that attacked the Karak ships directly. His soldiers wore special armor designed to protect them from biological weapons. "Remember," Colonel Davis told his Marines, "these things have been eating innocent people alive. Show them the same mercy they showed the Valorians." The Marines fought their way through the insides of the Karak bioships. Were like living creatures inside, with walls that felt like skin and corridors that pulsed like blood vessels. It was disgusting, but the Marines did their job. The battle was going well for the humans. But the largest Karak bioship was still fighting. It was a massive creature that served as the command center for the Karak invasion force. "No, that's their flagship," Jake told Admiral Sullivan. "If we can destroy it, the other Karak ships will be leaderless." Captain Kelly Wright, commanding her fast attack squadron, tried to get close to the Karak flagship, but the huge bioship was protected by smaller vessels and was too dangerous to approach. Admiral Captain Wright reported, "I can't get through their defenses. That thing is too well protected." Admiral Sullivan made a decision that would end the battle. "All ships, focus fire on the Karak flagship. Everything we have." Every human ship in the fleet turned their weapons toward the massive Karak bioship. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and fighters all fired at the same target. The Karak flagship was hit by thousands of shells, missiles, and energy beams. Its living armor tried to heal itself, but there was too much damage. The bioship began to die. Captain Clark, seeing that his destroyer was badly damaged and unable to escape, made a final decision. "This is for the Valorians," he said, and steered his ship directly into the Karak flagship. The explosion lit up the entire system. The Karak flagship broke apart and died, taking Captain Clark and his crew with it. But their sacrifice had ended the battle. With their command ship destroyed, the remaining Karak bioships tried to escape. But Captain Wright and her squadrons were waiting for them. "No one escapes," Captain Wright said. "Hunt them down." The human ships chased the fleeing Karak vessels across the system. One by one, they caught and destroyed the bioships. Within 6 hours, every Karak vessel in the system was either dead or dying. Admiral Sullivan received reports from all her ships. "Admiral, the system is clear. Karak ships have been destroyed." She opened a communication channel to the planet's surface. "Elder Zephi, this is Admiral Sullivan of the Earth Defense Force. The Karak are gone. You and your people are safe." The response came quickly, translated by Dr. Maria Santos. "Admiral Sullivan, this is Elder Zephi. We cannot believe it. You actually came. You saved us. Told you help was coming," Admiral Sullivan replied. "Earth keeps its promises." On Sanctuary Prime, Valorians began to emerge from their hiding places. They looked up at the sky and saw human ships instead of Karak biovessels. Many of them fell to their knees and cried with relief. But Admiral Sullivan was not finished. She knew that the Karak had attacked other species across the galaxy. "Jake, send a message to Earth Command," she ordered. "Tell them we need more ships and supplies." "We're not going home yet, Admiral," Jake asked. "The Karak didn't just attack the Valorians," Admiral Sullivan explained. "According to our intelligence, They've been terrorizing species across this entire sector of the galaxy. We're going to find every Carrack fleet and destroy them all. The battle for the Valorian system was over, but the war against the Carrack was just beginning. Earth had shown the galaxy what happened when innocent people asked for help. The Carrack had made the mistake of thinking no one would care enough to stop them. They were wrong. Earth cared, and Earth had the power to do something about it. 3 weeks after the battle, the Valorian system looked completely different. Human ships patrolled the space around all 3 Valorian worlds. Making sure no Carrack vessels could return, Admiral Kate Sullivan stood in the rebuilt Valorian Council, building on Sanctuary Prime. Through the windows, she could see human and Valorian workers building new homes and farms. The planet was coming back to life. Elder HFY walked into the room, moving much better than when the humans had first found him. The old Valorian had gained weight, and his eyes were brighter. Hope had returned to his people. Admiral Sullivan, Elder HFY said through the translator device, "I wanted to thank you again before you leave." Admiral Sullivan shook her head. "We're not leaving, Elder. Some of our ships will stay here permanently. Yet the Carrack will never threaten your people again." The old Valorian's eyes filled with tears. "In all our history, we never imagined that someone would care enough to protect strangers from across the galaxy." Dr. Ellen Parker walked into the room, carrying a medical report. "Admiral, I have the final numbers on Valorian survivors. We found 3.2 million Valorians alive across all 3 worlds. The medical teams have treated everyone, and they're all healthy now." "That's more than we thought," Admiral Sullivan said. "What about the rescued prisoners we found?" "Another 50,000 Valorians in the Carrack bioships," Dr. Parker said. "They were in bad condition, but they'll recover. Carrack had been keeping them alive to use as food and building material." Elder HFY spoke again. "Admiral, my people want to do something for yours. We are not warriors, but we are good at growing food and making medicine. We want to help your fleet." Admiral Sullivan smiled. "We would be honored to accept your help, Elder." Across the room, Colonel Frank Davis was meeting with Valorian engineers. They were working together to build defense stations around each Valorian world. "These stations will have the best human weapons and Valorian technology," Colonel Davis explained to Admiral Sullivan. "If any Carrack ships come back, they'll be destroyed before they can land." Captain Kelly Wright entered the building with news from her scout missions. "Admiral, we found 3 more systems where the Carrack have attacked other species. 2 of the species are already extinct, but 1 group is still fighting." "How far away?" Admiral Sullivan asked. 6 light years, Captain Wright said. "Hey, call themselves the Helix. They're reptile-like people who live on mining worlds. The Carrack have been attacking them for 2 months. Admiral Sullivan made her decision immediately. "Prepare the fleet, we're moving out tomorrow." "Admiral Jake," Martinez said, "shouldn't we wait for more ships from Earth?" "The Helix don't have time to wait," Admiral Sullivan replied.
Every day.
"We delay, more innocent people die." The next morning, half of the human fleet left the Valorian system. The other half stayed behind to protect the rebuilding Valorians and serve as a base for future operations. Dr. Alex Turner worked with Valorian scientists to study the dead Carrack bioships. "Admiral, we're learning a lot about how the Carrack reproduce and grow their fleets. This information will help us fight them more effectively." "What have you found?" Admiral Sullivan asked. "The Carrack need living tissue from other species too. Grow their ships," Dr. Turner explained. "Without victims to consume, they can't build new vessels or repair damaged ones. So if we stop them from taking prisoners, we can weaken their entire species," Admiral Sullivan said. "Exactly," Dr. Turner said. "We just need to find all their fleets and destroy them before they can capture more victims." The human fleet arrived at the Helix system to find it under heavy attack. The reptile-like Helix people were fighting bravely, but they were losing badly. Their cities were burning, and their ships were no match for the Carrack biovessels. "Same plan as before," Admiral Sullivan ordered. "Destroy every Carrack ship. No survivors." The battle for the Helix system was shorter than the fight for the Valorians. The humans had learned how to fight the Carrack effectively, and their weapons had been improved based on the previous battle. Within 12 hours, All Carrack ships in the Helix system were destroyed. The grateful reptile people offered to join the human campaign against the Carrack. "We will fight beside you," said clan leader SS's Tack through a translator. "The Carrack killed millions of our people. We want revenge." Over the next 6 months, the human fleet moved from system to system, hunting down Carrack forces. They rescued 4 more species and completely destroyed 6 Carrack fleets. Each victory brought new allies. The rescued species offered ships, supplies, and knowledge to help the humans fight the Carrack. What had started as Earth's mission to save the Valorians had become a galactic alliance against genocide. Captain Wright led exploration missions to find Caro-controlled territory. "Admiral, we've located the main Caro-K breeding worlds. There are 7 systems where they grow new bioships, and we know where to hit them next." Admiral Sullivan said. The campaign continued for 2 more years. The human-led alliance grew to include 12 different species. Together, they hunted down every Carrack fleet in the galaxy. The final battle took place at the Carrack homeworld. The insect-like aliens had retreated to their original system and were making their last stand. "This is where it ends," Admiral Sullivan told her fleet, which now included ships from all the species the humans had rescued. The battle was fierce, but the outcome was never in doubt. The Carrack had spent centuries terrorizing innocent people, and now they faced the combined wrath of all their victims, led by humanity. When the last Carrack bioship was destroyed, Admiral Sullivan sent a message that was broadcast across the entire galaxy. "This is Admiral Kate Sullivan of the Earth Defense Force. The Carrack Dominion has been completely destroyed. Never again will they threaten innocent people. This message goes out to all species in the galaxy, Earth and its allies. We'll protect those who cannot protect themselves. If you are under attack by aggressors who show no mercy, call for help. We will answer." Back on Sanctuary Prime, Elder Zephi High listened to the broadcast with tears in his eyes. Round him, Valorian children played in gardens that had been rebuilt. With human help above them, human patrol ships continued their watch, making sure the peace would last. The Valorians had cried for aid in their darkest hour. Earth had answered with everything it had. Now the galaxy knew that humanity would never stand by while innocent people suffered. The message was clear to anyone who might think about following the Carrack's example: attack the innocent and face Earth's full wrath.